That's not right. That sounds terrible. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for joining me. Jumping right in here again to hang out with you guys and see what's up and gather around. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you are. It's it's gonna be a crazy day. We'll see. Oh, I didn't have the music on. That was just a jerk move. What a way to start a stream and then blow it. I apologize for that. You didn't even get to hear me do the screw up. So maybe that was better. Maybe it was all part of the plan the whole time. Very possibly. That this was the case that I was. Messing around, just playing around. Never had one lesson. That's completely true. Wait, I got to switch cameras so you don't have to just look at my left tricep the entire time. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right. What's happening? How you doing? Hi Jill. Hey Dank. What's happening, Neo? Found a working body shop. That's good to know. My girlfriend just went and got her smog test, so some drive-through stuff is really happening. I think that's the industry of the future. Is hi, thank you. No, no, no. I'll pump it myself. Thank you. Wait, that sounded weird. So we had another. Yes, happy Thursday, which is the day the world ended in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I'm always trepidatious about Thursdays, anyways. But we'll take them as they come, and we'll see if we can win. Because there's so much winning going on. We have another press conference. We're gonna go through that right now. Just dive right the heck in. So good. They already made everybody's. They make them stand out there like dupes. Now, if you'll notice, the outfits have changed again. Put him in his military outfit. They didn't like the weird Space Force janitor outfits I put everybody in for 1 week. So make sure he's in his military outfit again. So people take him. Surgeon General. Focus on general. Nobody needs a surgeon. It's an infectious disease. And then thanks, Tom. I need more practice, and I feel like I'm going to get more practice as this goes on. And they decided, dude from the FDA is just dressing in a suit, respectable, just come to job and do your job and go home. Burks is in sort of a Sergeant Pepper meets space karate, but she's still got the signature scarf. It's just not draped on the shoulder today. It's wrapped around the neck. Hal, you have to release short versions of these. So many of us can only stand to view these pressers through your comedic shit film. Okay, I'll chop them up as we go forward, but it's a lot. I'm just rolling them as they come. He needs to be doing shorter versions of them. I think that's the fact. You know what I mean? So gonna win. This is gonna be the people are very excited about the pandemic. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, he's gonna lumber out here any minute. Look how he makes them stand out there. Go stand out there and wait for me. Here he comes. Thank you. Let me open with a joke. I think that's a good idea. I learned that at Toastmasters in
I think
1978.
it's going to be a very important conference, and I'll get to that toward the middle, but I have a few things to report.
First of all, this is not a press conference, it's a conference.
And I want to thank you all for being here, and I have to say, I think with social distancing that the media has been much nicer.
See, get it? So fun. 20 new deaths. But, a little poke at the
I
press.
don't know what it is, all these.
I think if they're spread out. Get it? Get it? I'm opening with a gag.
Empty, these in between.
See? Comedy? Anybody? It killed him back in there with the people who have to laugh at me.
Chairs. You probably.
Cheers.
Probably shouldn't have anybody sitting behind you either. You know, you should probably go back. But I love it. It's so much nicer. But I shouldn't say that because you'll get me now.
You'll point out the fact that I shouldn't be joking about the press going after me for things in the middle of a pandemic that I am screwing into a cocked hat.
Uh,
He's super orange today. Go more. I want to go more mandarin. It's like tangerine mandarin.
Thank you all for being here.
After I slam my face in a bowl of Cheetos.
And we continue our relentless effort to defeat
Relentless.
the Chinese virus.
That got a lot of press yesterday, so I'm going to keep calling it China virus and Chinese virus because I notice that eats up a lot of airtime when they could be talking about body counts.
Before I begin, I want to start by announcing that today we are bringing home another American citizen. It was a big thing, very big.
Huge. I know you guys are worrying about not enough ventilators, respirators, intubators, incubators, I don't know, but there's a guy.
Omar Fakouri is on his way back to the United States after being imprisoned in Lebanon since September of 2019. He's battling late-stage cancer.
So we thought it'd be a great idea to get him out of jail in Lebanon, where he might actually be safe, and we're going to transfer him to a coffee shop in Manhattan. But first, he's always wanted to go to Seattle, so he's wanting all expenses. Jesus Christ. You know what? On second thought, leave me in jail.
Fakouri
Lebanon was safer.
will now be able to receive the much-needed care and treatment in the United States. We've been
He needed a ventilator, and
working very hard to get him freed. And he's finally able to have his entire family at his side.
we tried to send them all to Lebanon, but legally, I guess a bunch of them are actually citizens, so we couldn't do that. I was like, can't we just send his family to jail in Lebanon? That'd be sweet. Stephen Miller, like, as soon as I said that, he lit up.
So I'm very grateful to the Lebanese government. They worked with us, and we are very proud of his family. They stood by him so strongly, and they are thrilled. The United States
They're super excited.
has no higher priority than the safety and well-being of our citizens. We've
Unless they're on a cruise ship parked off San Francisco, then not my problem. Don't add to my numbers. Look, die on the boat in international waters, then I can blame China.
gotten a tremendous number of hostages out, as you know. I think we're 42-0.
I don't know if you've been checking the score lately, but we have yet to. We have not taken any hostages and been forced to give them back. I've been waiting for the dumbest thing. And that might be it. Holy smokes.
And
Oh my God,
Robert
that's
O'Brien,
funny. Yeah.
as you know, was our chief negotiator for a large part of it. In fact, did so well that now we have him in a different position.
They had him tied up on a wall, poking him with electrical things. Now we have him on a gurney on a plane, which we're not doing for other Americans, just for the record.
So I want to thank and
But if you're an American trapped in another country and you can't fly back, I recommend committing a crime.
congratulate Robert and his team, and I want to let everyone know that recovering Americans held captive and imprisoned abroad continues to be a top priority for my
So if you can't get back in the country to see your family because of coronavirus, I just go punch a cop.
administration. We have one young gentleman, Austin Tice, and we're working very hard with Syria to get him out. We hope the Syrian government will do that. We are counting on them to do that. We've written a letter just recently, but he's been there for a long time. And
It was a beautiful letter, perfect letter. I made a perfect call, but they wouldn't pick it up, so I wrote a perfect letter.
was captured long ago. Austin Tice, his mother's probably watching, and she's a great lady. And we're doing the best we can. So,
So stop calling my office, Austin Tice's mother. I'm in the middle of an epidemic, damn it, and you keep calling.
Syria, please work with us, and we would appreciate you letting them out. If you think about what we've done, we've gotten rid of the ISIS caliphate in Syria. We've done a lot for Syria. We have to see if they're going to do this. So it would be very much appreciated if they would let Austin Tice out.
Just get him over here so we can get him to a hot spot. We need grocery workers.
Immediately. As you know, my administration is working every day to protect American people. And
unless they're on a cruise ship, not my problem, not my fault, nobody's fault, probably China's fault. But you know what I'm saying.
The American economy from the virus. Yesterday, I signed.
Oh. Did you know the Dow can catch cold?
Into law a critical support for American workers.
That the Democrats made me do and Mitch McConnell hates, but we don't have time.
Families and small businesses. It's a big thing. We're providing.
I'm not joking about Austin Tice. I'm joking about Trump's handling of it, jackass. You guys. And if you're going to pull this, like, can we not make fun of the president, please? This is a dangerous situation. He's a clown. He's screwing this whole thing up. If he cared at all, he wouldn't appear at these briefings. He'd go, ladies and gentlemen, the team will brief you now. I appreciate you listening to their words. I'm going to go back to work. Like, that's not what he's doing. This is an ego trip for him, and I will take him down a peg. It's my channel. If you don't like it, piss off.
Sick leave and family medical leave to those affected by the virus, and more help is on the way as we speak. Our entire team, headed by Secretary Mnuchin, is on the Hill. We're working.
The whole team is there, except the ones behind me. And, oh, damn it. I said the whole team is just the economic part, and I don't care about that other part again. Bye.
Working with Democrats and Republicans, and there's a lot of goodwill going on. This was something that happened that.
Let me guess, nobody could have suspected, and it came out of the blue, and it caught the whole world off guard. And
was some people would say an act of God. I don't view it as an act of God. I would view it as something that just surprised the whole world.
Just it wasn't an act of God. It was like a early birthday.
And if people would have known about it, it could have.
Thank you, Benny Loco.
Been stopped in place. It could have been stopped right where it came from, China. If we would have known about it, if they would have known about it. But now the whole.
They knew about it. We knew they were lying about it. We didn't do anything. I was telling you guys in December that the numbers were BS. So if I knew it, they knew it.
World.
If only China had told us what we already knew so we could say it in public. What they were saying in public wasn't publicly true.
Most is inflicted with this horrible virus, and it's too bad.
Too bad. Tough luck, America.
It's too bad
that it affected our economy.
Because we never had an economy as good as the economy.
Oh my God!
Had just a few weeks ago. But we'll be back, and I actually think we'll be back stronger than ever before because we learned a lot during this period of time.
Like one of the things we learned was buy low, sell high. And everything was so high you couldn't buy low anymore. So my friend said, anything you could do to crash the economy? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I also just invoked the Defense Production Act to help facilitate distribution of essential supplies.
I didn't really. I waited until after. I said it before the press conference, and then I waited till afterwards to sign it, but I haven't invoked it. I've just signed it. I have to invoke it before it works, but I'm going to wait to do that. I'm going to sign it, but not do it. But I want you a picture of me signing it, so if I never do it, you don't know.
Necessary. We're working with Congress to provide major additional relief to the workers, small businesses, and the hardest hit industries. We want to make sure that everybody is able to
artists industries, you know, airlines, cruise ships, golf courses, uh, spray tan professionals. What else did I miss? Chocolate, beautiful chocolate cake bakers.
continue on so that when we recover, all of these companies and these great businesses, both
All these great,
very, very small and very, very large, they're not going to be broken
the big ones, the small ones, the wide ones, the skinny ones, the tall ones, the short ones, but some more than others and others less than more.
up, and you'd have to put them back together. That would take a
Like if you didn't have all the king's horses and all the king's men, I put in all
long time because we really believe in. I believe in the V curve. I believe it's going to go when this is defeated. This hidden scourge is
scourge. Scourge. It's pronounced scourge, not scourge. It's spelled scourge, but it's pronounced scourge.
defeated.
Look at the new words before you say them, and don't go, "Oh, I like that word. Put that in the thing I'm going to say."
I think we're going to go up very rapidly.
So, sorry, you know, I feel worse for the dead people who can't invest when we hit bottom.
Our economy and get back to where it was and beyond. Today, I want to share with you
I'm taking a Buzz Lightyear approach.
exciting progress that the FDA is making with the private sector as we slash red tape like nobody has ever done it before. Somebody was
saying no one has slashed red tape like Mr. They call me, you know, you cut all this red tape. And do they call you Mr. Red Tape Cutter? No. You have a stock market like no one's ever seen before. Do they call you Mr. Stock Market? Who no one's ever seen before? No. You screw one porn star.
on yesterday on one of the networks and said that there's never been a president.
Wonder which network that was. Do we have a coin that just says Fox News on one side and OAN on the other?
Even close that's been able to do what I've done in slashing all of the red tape and everything to get very important things to the market. Medical.
Just throw the word on so you know what sector.
So we slash red tape to develop vaccines and therapies as fast as
Explain it to us.
can possibly be done, long before anybody else was even thinking about doing this.
Nobody thought about a COVID-19 epidemic specifically. I don't know why they weren't working on this vaccine for a disease that hadn't shown until 3 months ago. Nobody expected this, but we're doing it faster than anyone.
And as you know, earlier this week, we began the first clinical trial of a vaccine candidate for the virus, and that was launched in record time. It was just a few weeks, and that would have taken years to do.
The Guinness Book people were just here. I got my picture taken, and
not so long ago. As we race to develop a vaccine, we're also pursuing antiviral therapies, and that's what really we're going to be talking to you about today. That's the purpose of being up here today.
that is it really? It's not to talk about the stock market and how you're going to help Wendy's and Dow Chemical and Delta Airlines and Target get back on the real thing is about therapies. Why is it about therapies? Because somebody told you yesterday it's 18 months to a vaccine at minimum. That's if the one we're working on works. That's why you're talking about therapies now, because everyone around you said, Mr. President, you can't keep saying we're going to get a vaccine quickly, because what if the first round of people die? Everything's going to go through the...
And to me, that's
so important. I was saying from the beginning, don't work on a vaccine. Takes too long. I thought of this.
Even more important, the vaccine by its nature, you have to have long tests because you have to make sure what goes into somebody's body is not going to do destruction.
That's what you want. Do we have a chart? Let me see the patient's chart. Hold on, stop. Stop the clinical trials. Says right here, destruction is happening. Yeah, his pancreas just fell out his butthole.
Do bad things, so you need long tests.
Apparently, Somebody just told me this in the last 3 days 16 times.
And they're doing great with the vaccines.
They're doing terrific, but they aren't.
It's still a long process, but
Oh, why'd they cut away? That was weird. Ghosting to the other side. Pence insisted on it. You're looking really fantastic, Mr. President. We should get a second angle. It'll give people, you know, people want to believe that there's not someone under the podium feeding you answers, and they want to look at that bell-shaped jacket.
the therapies are something we can move on much faster potentially. And
People have been mentioning that maybe I should have therapy.
the treatments that will be able to reduce the severity or duration of the symptoms.
People are getting bored, so we need a second camera to cut to. How about that?
To make people better. Essentially, we're looking at things to make people better.
Oh, guys. Yeah, that's right. The camera A guy just died. He just fell over. Oh my God. What? I don't know. Our strategy now is the people who are gonna die are gonna die. Right now, we're just gonna try and make people better.
Or at the very earliest stages, they wouldn't even know they had it. And that's where I
We want it to be a surprise.
believe it's going to work even the best.
The best is people, if you're a real American, you'll get it and either die right away or not even know you have it and cough on your clerk.
The FDA Commissioner, Stephen Hahn, who's with us, he's fantastic. And he has been working 24 hours a day. He's been
awake nonstop. He's bleary-eyed. He almost fell down a flight of stairs because I only like the people I can have on television.
he's worked like probably as hard or harder than anybody in the group, other than maybe Mike Pence or me.
Really? 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 Nobody's working harder. And the FDA guy's, he is. Look at this guy. I mean, nonstop. He calls me in the morning and says, what level are you at? And I go, we're level A1, sir. Is there an A1 plus level I can tell everybody tomorrow?
And what the FDA is doing is incredible.
It's incredible. Fantastic job. Fantastic job. Also incredible. And also incredible, fantastic job. Just in case you were wondering. Whoops. Hold on. I clicked on a picture. That was my bad. Hold on. Where are you? Where are you, little icon? There you are.
They've done things in times that were not even thinkable.
It was gross.
And
I watched the whole thing.
The FDA to eliminate outdated.
These people are doing things you wouldn't even. I'm going to start doing the monologue from Blade Runner by the time this is done.
Rules and bureaucracy, so this work can proceed rapidly, quickly, and
in other words that mean rapidly.
Fast.
Fast, rapidly, bigly, extremely-ish.
And we have to remove every barrier. There were a lot of barriers that were unnecessary.
Super
and
good.
We've done that to get the rapid deployment of safe, effective treatments. And we think we have some good answers. We'll find out.
We'll find out. We don't know. We might, but we might not. But how could we know if we don't know what we do know and what we did know before we knew it? Bigly, right?
Very, very soon. Clinical trials are already underway for many new therapies, and we're working on scaling these to allow many more Americans to access different drugs that have shown
little,
really
and I want a
good
lot,
promise.
and I want a little of a lot.
Really good promise. We will do so in a way that lets us continue to collect good data to know which medicines are safe and which medicines are working the best. We have a couple that we're in really good shape on.
They're great, but they're not great. I'm going to try and read them in a minute.
And that's
and it's going to work out very well, and fantastic job.
for immediate delivery. Immediate, like as fast as we can get it.
In case you don't know what immediate means, it'll be there immediately. But when I say immediately, I mean I have no idea. But I will yell at someone if it's not there like I promised it would be, even though I have no idea.
The FDA has also approved compassionate use for a significant number of patients. You know what that means?
No, they don't. Explain it.
We're also reviewing drugs that are approved abroad or drugs approved here for other uses. And you know, one of the things that I'm most proud of that I got was right to try. That's
Has nothing to do with this. Compassionate use is in an emergency like this. It's already written into the law. What he's trying to do is tie something that was already in the law and already is available in an emergency to his right to try thing, which, by the way, I have no problem with right to try, but they're not the same thing. He's just trying to make it look like he made this policy the FDA is using up out of whole cloth. He didn't.
where somebody who's ill, somebody who's very sick, terminally ill usually,
Very sick, or, right to try because they're going to die. As a matter of fact, they have to be terminally ill, or they.
in past administrations, we signed this a year and a half ago. You wouldn't be able to
Experiment on dying people.
even think about getting any of the drugs that may be showing great promise now. And they've been trying for many decades to get this approved. And it sounds simple, but it's not, because there's liability involved and lots of.
And there was all sorts of other science involved, and we didn't have a coordinated WHO 15, 20 years ago the way we do now. And so I got to take advantage of that and get right to try through with it.
Things. And I was able to get it approved working with Congress.
Most people don't know
Right to try. This is beyond right to try.
because it was already in place.
What we're talking about today is beyond right to try.
Like, you should have the right to try slamming your face in a bowl of Cheetos, wearing goggles, and then going on national television.
Right to try has been, by the way, a tremendous success. People are living now that had no chance of living.
Because some of the therapies will work, and they were already going to die.
Where we take treatments that would, things that would have to go through years of a process. And if somebody was terminally ill, and I would
They don't have a lot of years.
say, why wouldn't they be able to try this? They'd go to Asia, they'd go to Europe, they'd go all over the world to try and find something.
And then they would leave the country, and they're not spending their money here, which I would prefer.
Or some people, if they had no money, would go home to die. They'd go home to die. They had no hope. Right to try has been an incredible success. But this is beyond right to try. If
It's so beyond that it was already a law.
treatments known to be safe in Europe, Japan, or other nations are effective against the virus, we'll use that information to protect.
Look at the FDA guy staring a hole in his head right now, going, don't.
The health and safety of American people. Nothing will stand in our way as we pursue any avenue to find what best works against this horrible virus. Now,
Horrible virus. I am again doing a book report about stuff I've never seen.
a drug called chloroquine.
Oh, did we cut away to fix that? What happened?
Some people would add to it hydroxychloroquine.
No, they wouldn't add hydroxy to it. I don't know. It takes the stains out of chloroquine. They're two separate things.
So chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine. Now, this is a common malaria drug. It's also a drug used for strong arthritis. Somebody has pretty serious arthritis. Also uses this in a somewhat different form.
Do they? What is it? Suppositories? Is it an injection under the skin? Do they take it as? Do they have to talk to your doctor about it? Does it come in a purple pill?
But
Yeah. Why don't they have a shot of what he's reading?
it is known as a malaria drug, and it's been
Most people know that it's famous for malaria. Is Melania's second cousin.
around for a long time,
Have you ever met Malaria? She's fabulous.
and it's very powerful. But the nice part is it's been around for a long time.
It's great. It's like a comfort drug. It's like the mac and cheese of drugs.
So we know that if things don't go as planned, it's not going to
We won't get blamed. It's your fault. Sorry.
kill anybody.
We know it's not. You're not gonna die from it. We think.
When you go with a brand new drug, you don't know that that's going to happen. You have to see and you have to go long test. But this has been used in different
But we've cut all those long tests because I'm cutting more than anybody in the whole.
forms. Very powerful drug in different forms, and it's shown very encouraging, very encouraging early results.
Very, very not. Before under Obama, they only had very encouraging, but now we have very, very.
And
I'm going to be taking all of these drugs, testing them on myself, just to make sure the American people are, because I think they're 100,000% safe.
we're going to be able to make that drug available almost immediately, and that's where the FDA has been so great.
They've been so great because the WHO and the Italian government and the South Koreans have all been doing this for weeks, and we thought, hey,
They've gone through the approval process. It's been approved.
we need to use it. We need whatever therapies are available. You notice that Dr. Fauci is not on the stage.
And they did it. They took it down from many months
to many less months.
Immediate. So we're going to be able to make.
Yeah. Right now, they went from many months to just put it in front of them, and I gave them a stamp that says, go for it.
That drug.
America. Poomp.
Available.
I took the M off. It's apostrophe. America. Clunk.
By prescription or states. I spoke with Governor Cuomo about it at great length last night. And he wants to be right on the. He wants to be first on the line. And so I think that's there's tremendous promise.
Please don't tell me it's going to be exciting.
Based on the results and other tests, there's
what?
Tremendous promise. And
so much good.
The FDA would take a long time to approve something like that, and it was approved very quickly. And
super quick. Normally, the FDA, during a massive pandemic, like seriously, these folks, if it wasn't for me, these people would, during the Spanish flu, would have been twiddling their thumbs going, screw them, it's mostly poor people. But because I'm here.
It's now approved by prescription. Individual states will handle it.
I'm not going to pass it out like Pez. You're going to need a doctor's note, okay?
They can handle it. Doctors will handle it. And I think it's going
to be, it's very exciting.
I think it's going to be great.
It's going to be super good. You guys are going to have so much fun getting drugs tested on you because we're 3 weeks behind the 8 ball.
And we're quickly studying this drug, and while we're continuing to study it, but the studying is.
I got to get back to studying right now. I've been cracking the books. It's like real genius back there. It's just, remember the study montage?
It's going to be also done as it's given out to large groups of people, perhaps in New York and other places.
We'll keep studying it. We're going to give it to a lot of people. And we'll see, we'll see. And I'm not taking it. I'll wait until they start coughing up blood.
We'll study it there. There are promising therapies produced.
You can't put Jared in charge of it, Jim Flipkowski. If you give him human drugs, he short circuits.
By Gilead, and that's remdesivir.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, please try to pronounce remdesivir like 6 more times and make it 3 words. Remdesivir.
Remdesivir.
Remdesivir. I'm getting straight up. Somebody told me back there, the more walking you can pronounce these. Remdesivir.
And that's a drug used for other purposes. That's been.
Not for this. It's not. You'd be surprised how many drugs aren't used for a disease that just happened.
Out and said very good results for other purposes, but it seems to have a very good result having to do with this virus.
Thanks, Venus
and
flytrap.
that drug also has been
It's a great drug. It's been great for other purposes. How do we know? South Korea and Italy and France and everybody are using it now to see if it helps.
approved or very close to approved in that case. But
I'm so approved. I got more approved. It's gonna. I said immediate. When I say immediate,
the FDA, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate what the FDA. These people are incredible
they are.
patriots, and
Yes, they are. You were calling them people like them the deep state 3 weeks ago.
the job that Stephen Hahn is doing.
By the way, when you say people are working 24/7, the closest thing to that is the people in the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH.
Dr. Hahn
Everybody else is got plenty of executive time, and
is one of the most respected doctors in the country, by the way.
we're going to find out after this is over, by the way, that they put in one of those virtual golf things in one of the
We
rooms.
took him. I said, "You sure you want to do this?" Now we didn't know that this was going to be in the playlist. What happened here, but
No, our plans for the FDA was we were just going to allow people to use Roundup as a salad dressing. That was my only thing. And then all of a sudden this happens and puts that on the back burner. And then apparently you can use DDT to season meat for poor people. We were going to do that.
he really has stepped up to the plate. Wherever you are, where is he? You really have. I shake his hand, but I'm not supposed to do that.
Even though everyone, I said yesterday, is being tested very thoroughly, and he's 2 feet behind me, breathing all over my shoulder, but I won't shake his hand.
Get in a lot of trouble if I did that.
Because people noticed that all the pharmaceutical guys wouldn't shake my hand, but I shook the hand of the dudes from Target, Wendy's, Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS and almost killed them.
But he's been fantastic.
He's been
I
great,
thank you, doctor. He's
doing a fantastic
going
job.
to speak right after I'm finished. So
So the stock market will stop going down and level out for a minute.
Regeneron again, and
You guys met Regeneron last night. He's my robot in charge of physical regeneration.
is a company that's done fantastically well, as I understand, with Ebola and some other things. Great company.
So remember when the Obama administration failed horribly with Ebola? They did great with Ebola. The company did great, but the people who put them in charge of it and assisted them with the NIH and the CDC, those people did terribly.
And they're looking at some very promising events also. So you have remdesivir.
Remdesivir. I like to put a little kind of shouldered ingenue take on the whole thing. Remdesivir. What do you like to drink, you sassy minx? I don't know, sailor. Fix me a remdesivir.
And
Jesus.
you have chloroquine.
Chloroquine, and some people call it hydroxychloroquine, or there is, are they different?
And hydroxychloroquine.
Or hydro, you can either put oxygen in it, or you can only take it with water. We'll find out. You can throw it to drowning people, in which case you'd have hydro for war. What is it again? We need cue cards. This isn't The Apprentice, god damn it.
So those are
Remdesivir, you minx.
two that are out now.
They weren't. Most people don't know they were gay, but now they're proud.
Essentially approved for
Other stuff, but we're going to start testing it on large groups of people in case I get it. Welcome to being my focus group, America.
prescribed use. And I think it's going to be very exciting. I think
People are going to be lining up. You saw the lines at O'Hare. People are so excited to get back in the country. When I announce a travel ban,
it could be
Jesus.
a game changer, and maybe not.
It could be great or terrible, but you guys will be taking it, so who the knows?
And maybe not. But I think it could be, based on what I see, it could be a game changer.
Could be a game changer. or a channel changer.
Very
Boring.
powerful. They're very powerful. So I want every American to
They're great, but they might not be great. We'll find out if they're great, but we don't know. People, look, you are all my guinea pigs.
know that we're
Good luck.
doing everything we can, and these actions are important next steps. I mean, for the FDA to act the way they acted with this kind of speed is an
It's incredible, you know? Like, without me here, they would have just sat there and gone, I'm a state worker. Piss off, boss man.
incredible thing. Normally they'd say, well, we can have it by next year, or we can have it by in 2 years from now. You understand? This is the way. Normally it's like
Normally, we take the time to make sure it won't kill people, but we don't have time for that. I might get it. So if it kills a few people, you guys are just going to test all this stuff for the rich people. I've told everybody, if you're rich and you can stay indoors, do it. Order delivery. All the delivery people and grocery people and frontline people, they can all die off, and we'll see what works on them, and then we'll all
years and years and years. They had it immediately, based on the fact that it's been used for other things, totally unrelated things.
totally unrelated.
We believe these therapeutics and others under evaluation right now will be able to.
You can, Cheryl, to this, you can become a patron, or you can PayPal me /Hal Sparks, or you can donate on my page, or you can help, or you can just watch. I'm doing this just because we're all stuck. If you want to watch the serious version of this and not see me mock him, it's on every network every day. You do not have to watch me doing this. Go away if it upsets you. If you need to recognize that this man is talking out of his ass and he should get out of the way and let the professionals do the talking, then welcome aboard. We've got a goal of 500 patrons. We have 150 now. Thank you guys for joining. We've gone up like 10 in the last week, and I appreciate you guys, doing this. I know everybody can't right now because everything's in flux, so don't worry about that part of it. But if you can, that's how you do it.
To provide relief to many Americans. We really hope that's going to be. This could be a tremendous breakthrough. Tremendous breakthrough.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is, no one ever thought to test untested drugs on so many people.
And we will work toward a much needed vaccine in the future, as I said. And what we're doing with the FDA is so exciting in so many other fields. So many things are happening. It's a very exciting time for medicine. And we appreciate that the American public has pulled together. They're really staying home. And I think
doing such a good job doing nothing. Whoever knew?
There's tremendous spirit in this country right now. It's spirit like.
It's amazing the spirit people show when they don't want to die. The energy, the spirit, the vim, the vigor, the love that people are showing for not going out and dying. There's a tremendous amount of excitement for not breathing in the toxic air of their fellow man.
A lot of people have not seen anything like it for a long time. And
it's not since 1918.
That means Democrat, Republican, they're pulling together, I hope.
Independent, Green Party, communists, those weird people who climb up trees, and everyone's getting along except Mitch McConnell, who's keeps going back in his shell.
Everything's going good on the Hill. Maybe I shouldn't say this until I check out what's going on, because you never know. But I think there's a great spirit where the Democrats.
You're not checking out what's going on the Hill? You're not? What?
The Republicans and everybody else, they're getting together and they're trying to get things done.
But
most importantly, the American public has been incredible. We took the best economy we've ever had, and we said, stop. You can't work.
Work. You have to stop.
Stay home. There's never been a case like this. Normally, you pay a lot of money to get things going. Here's a case where we're paying a lot of money to stop things because we don't want people to be together so that this virus doesn't continue onward. So there's
continue out. You mean spread?
Never been
Is that the word you're looking for?
anything like this in history. There's never been, nobody's ever seen anything like
Nobody's ever
this.
seen anything like this before. Nobody ever suspected that anything could possibly.
But we're doing the right thing. We have to get rid of, I mean, our big war is it's not a financial war, it's a war, and it's a medical war. We have to win.
I'm basically a doctor now. It's a medical war. I mean, perhaps I have a good scientist. Dr. John Trump, he was a super genius. He taught for a record number of years. And he spoke to me from beyond the grave and said, this will just go away. It'll pop, poof.
This war. It's very important. With that, I'd like to just introduce Dr. Stephen Hahn, and
He will clean up all the bullshit I just said, where okay, stock market, you can stop crashing. This guy's going to talk. You can even out for a little while, and then you can go back to panicking.
Again, I'd like to send back with Stephen our thanks to all of the people working.
We're going to switch cameras right now so you can see. I don't know why we can't white balance these two. We got our team working on it.
For the FDA, who are fantastic, talented people. We appreciate it very much, everything you've done, especially the speed that you got these two elements, these two very important drugs passed. Thank you very much.
3.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I will do the dear leader statements. Thank you for your utmost guidance and the beauty by which you're handling this and all the stuff I have to say to keep you from cutting me from the team so that people don't have to die because I have to blow smoke up your ass before I even start talking about the actual problem.
I want to thank you for your leadership during this coronavirus outbreak, and thank you for the kind words about the FDA staff. We have 10,000 scientists, doctors, and others, and more than that, working around the clock to aid the American people.
They're so good. So good. All right, he's fine. I have no problem with what he's saying. Mike Pence is going to talk about the masks again. Is he going to talk about the M5 masks?
Met this morning, and on this very first day of spring, we continue.
Happy. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. Happy spring, everyone. It's sad that we all have to be here. Normally, I start the first day of spring. Mother and I have a cup of warm farina, and then I go to the White House to give the president his oil down and whisper affirmations into his ear. But today we had to double that because he really needs it. And
continue to make steady progress toward President Trump's objective, not only to marshal all the resources of the federal government, every state government,
all the organizations we said we're working with, or we're still working with yesterday, and no one has told us to FO.
Every local health official, but also to harness the power of the American private sector, and activities over the last day reflect all of those priorities.
We want to really talk about the sex toy industry. As people become increasingly lonely, home delivery of the Harmony sex doll is going through the roof. And since technically it's not a living thing, although it resembles a live woman, Mother has allowed me to purchase one. So
yesterday, the president spoke with America's top physicians and nurses and guard.
And they said, yeah, I'm kind of busy right now, and hung up on him. But I pretended to be one of them on the other end of the line and told him what a great job he was doing.
Helpful insights about how we can best serve those who are serving.
They suggested we have what's called a cranial rectiotomy, which is a fairly simple procedure involving a crowbar, your head and your ass. I didn't get all the details, but they said they're willing to drive down there and help us if anyone knows what that means.
Americans that are dealing with the coronavirus. We also had a productive call with over 5,000 state and local officials explaining the federal government.
Because 5,000 people on a phone call, that's productive. What we did was yell at them. Of course, it was a one-way call. It was basically like a school principal telling everyone what lunch would be. Today, Salisbury steak, and for the third graders, pudding. And if everyone is good at recess, you'll get your own dose of Zauvavoir. by Trump.
Government's approach and our strong and seamless partnership with all 50 states and the territories. Last night,
It has to be seamless now because West Virginia screwed up. Losers, they got a
as you
case.
heard, the President signed the Family First Coronavirus Response Act, which provides free coronavirus testing, paid sick leave, family
And other stupid things that the Democrats wanted, but we have to pass or I'll look bad.
leave for caregivers and food assistance for the needy, among a broad range of benefits. And today, as the President indicated, we expect that the Senate will begin work on an economic relief package.
And while I'm on the subject of package, I mean, look at it. Look at him. Mr. President.
Later today, the President and I will meet again in a teleconference with the nation's governors. We will meet at the National Response Coordination Center at FEMA.
Their mics, of course, will be turned off.
And outline President Trump's decision to have FEMA take the lead in our national coronavirus response.
Because we've been handling it so far, and it's become so bad that the Federal Emergency Management Agency must take over.
Our nation's response through FEMA will be locally executed, state managed, and federally supported. On testing, we want the American people to know once again that testing is available in all 50 states and is becoming increasingly
It's available. Don't try to get one, but it is there.
Available literally every hour of the day. Because of the public-private partnership that the President initiated several weeks ago with major commercial labs, I'm pleased to receive a report today that tens of thousands of tests are being performed every day. And with the passage of last
When I said millions, I meant thousands, not tens or hundreds of thousands like you guys. You have to know. You have to invert my math.
last night's legislations, state and private labs
You have to understand, you're dealing with a person who thinks Donald Trump is a 10. So obviously my understanding of numbers is way the off.
are now required by law to report all coronavirus.
You can get tested. Testing is available if you're a member of the NBA or you have stock in real estate companies.
Testing directly to the CDC, which will give the American public and also give our researchers timely and important information. It's important for every American to remember that if you don't have symptoms, you don't need to get a test. We want to make sure the test.
If you don't have symptoms, you don't need to get a test. Or if you've been right next to someone or you share a household with somebody who's sick, just stay sick, ride the sick out, and don't bother us. And only come to testing centers if you're coughing, sneezing, or having trouble breathing. Wait till then.
Testing is available for people that are experiencing symptoms or have a genuine concern about having been exposed to someone with the coronavirus. Dr. Birx will address county-level data as well as the progress we've made on testing, and Americans can expect to see how an increased number of cases as our new testing system comes online should not be a cause of concern. She'll explain the importance of taking into account our new testing system as new data arrives over the next several days.
Yes, as more people get tested, the numbers will go up because we'll see what's actually there.
On supplies, a priority the President has given to our task force. We continue to work with healthcare providers, businesses, and state leaders.
Yeah, James Etling is asking how any chance Fauci just stopped showing up for these. I'm gonna guess that either he thinks it's a waste of his time or they want to pick and choose when they use him because they know it's going to be bad in the next couple of days, so they're going to save him for the bad news.
Leadership to identify available supplies, not merely in the federal stockpile, but much more importantly, available across the private sector. We're encouraged to see companies like Honeywell and 3M that I visited a few short weeks ago.
If you'll recognize the one of the people, look at Trump, by the way. Look at the color of his face next to the color of the person behind him and the color of Mike Pence. Like, what is that? Literally. What is that?
Take advantage of the changes in the
Compared to his eyes, which are the same color as Pence.
law last night that allow the sale of industrial masks directly
Yeah, we've been hearing this for days. Congratulations. This is so like either Pence brought this up or somebody brought it up and he claimed it is his idea, but he's been running on this ever since.
to hospitals. Those companies have now greatly increased by the tens of millions their production of so-called N95 masks that will give our healthcare workers the protection that they need to minister to those that are dealing with the symptoms.
So they're not going to treat them anymore. They're just going to give them last rites, minister to them.
Or the
You mean administer care?
disease of coronavirus. Following the signing of last night's bill, all of those masks now have liability protection, and the companies can sell industrial masks to hospitals.
Yeah, if somebody you know gets sick and dies because they've been wearing construction masks instead of medical masks because of this bill, you can just sue Trump and Devin Nunes.
It is
Because they're the ones who were telling everybody to keep going out when everybody was saying stay home.
encouraging, as we called out yesterday, to see construction companies all across America
Who would normally wish death upon their fellow American, going, okay.
that are, as we speak, checking their supplies and donating those industrial masks to their local hospitals. And I know I speak on behalf of the president,
So good.
who spent a lot of time as a builder, when we thank builders across America for partnering with our local healthcare officials. On the subject of ventilators, we're working with healthcare providers around America and suppliers. And we're encouraged to learn that we've literally identified tens of thousands of ventilators that can be converted to treat patients. We remain increasingly confident that we will have the ventilators that we need as the coronavirus makes its way across America. And as we said before, we're all in this together.
We are. Unfortunately, it is not a poor person's disease like we initially thought.
And before I step away and give the podium back to the president and
To whom it rightly belongs.
Dr. Birx, I want to call every American's attention again to the
To
president.
this little printout we spent all day making Wednesday. And honestly, look at that blue. See the blue going up? The blue is the healing. We chose a healing color for the ramping up because while we recognize that it looks like a graph of the cases getting worse, we wanted it to, and it kind of looks like a blue wave in November. We wanted to, we had limited color choices. Green seemed too Christmassy.
President's 15 days to slow the spread.
They're not the presidents. They're the CDC guidelines.
We continue to hear one case after another, one city after another, where people are putting into practice the principles of the
He said peeper. It's a Freudian slip he's expected to make.
president outlined this Monday. And make no mistake about it, that while for the American people as a whole, the risk of serious illness remains low, these guidelines should be practiced by every American in every community, not only to lessen the spread of the coronavirus, but to protect the most vulnerable among us.
By lessening the spread.
And I think Americans from their hearts are not only practicing these principles of social distancing and
Ignore that dude in the MAGA hat who called it BS and all the people in Tennessee at that bar.
avoiding social gatherings of more than 10 people, using drive-throughs
As long as the government makes them, and which of course they're having weird little meetings.
at restaurants to protect their own health and the health of their family. But they're also recognizing that no American wants to inadvertently convey the coronavirus to someone for whom the
Well, are we sure? I mean, I kissed Nancy Pelosi yesterday.
consequences could be quite serious. At the president's direction, we'll continue to marshal all the resources of government at every level. We'll be reiterating that strong partnership with
With business.
America's states this afternoon, with America's governors, pulling all of the private sector energy together, the innovation that you just heard described. I know on this first day of spring that we'll get through this.
This is how did you like, Mother? How did you like my first day of spring speech? Wasn't I semi-presidential? The president's been sweaty lately. I just think this might be my chance. I'm so glad we brought a dog.
And we'll get through this together. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Dr. Chris.
Do you want to talk?
Thank you, Mr. President. So
Let me introduce to you the one and only Debbie Bergs, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's have a meeting about Fauci's outfits, okay? So for days she was wearing the librarian drape cloth idea, and as the days went on, they got more expensive as Melania burst into her all the scarves I got free overseas. These will look good on your shoulders, but yeah, Illy Shears. Illy Shears. What would you say if I coughed up a lung?
I know you're watching.
Really? Hey, this is a good time to remind everybody. Do you know what epaulets are for? Those little, see those straps on your shoulder? See that with the button on them? You know what those are for? You know what they're materially for? Dragging you off the battlefield when you're dead or wounded. That's the purpose. They're handles on your jacket so that one of your fellow soldiers can drag you dead off the field. It's symbolism, not all right.
Watching the data carefully, you can see the dramatic increases in the number of new cases based on our ability to test additional people. And this will continue over the next 2 to 3 days as we begin to
As we actually start looking like we should have. Look at Trump. I don't know if those numbers are really gonna go up. You keep saying they're gonna, but I don't know. Do you really want to say that?
backlogs reduced of the test.
You're supposed to be on my side, Sergeant Peppa Pig.
You all have heard the anecdotes of people waiting 5 or 6 days for their test results.
Anecdotes. Anecdotes. You can't start using the word antidote and let the cat out of the bag that this is some giant conspiracy and it's not a virus, it's poison and you're killing people and you've got the antidote and you've all snorted it and that's why you're all comfortable joking at these things.
We are moving
Did I say antidote? Damn it!
through all of that as well as testing individuals. I really want to applaud the frontline healthcare workers, the nurses and the doctors and the testers that have really prioritized, and the American people who have prioritized those with symptoms. The number of test positives is increasing. That is a dramatically important signature that
Great. It's a really great sign. By the way, one of the reasons why I wear a scarf all the time is so that whenever the president comes near me, I can pull it up over my face quickly because even I think his syphilis is airborne.
everybody is doing their job. Those with mild symptoms are staying home, self-isolating. Those with serious symptoms are coming forward to getting testing. Our test positive rates are now into the 10 to 11% range. That still means that 90% of the illnesses out there, even the severe ones, are not COVID-19.
But it's good that they came by because we panicked them early on.
I know many of you are looking at the state level data, still over 50%.
One of the symbols is neck blotches and neck gina. If you have a bad case of neck gina, you should check yourself right into a cemetery.
Of the cases come from 3 states. This is why we continue to prioritize testing in those states. In addition, 50% of the cases come from 10 counties.
Yeah, it's their fault. You know what? Why do they keep wanting respirators? She's fine. I don't like her.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. Today, you heard a wonderful announcement from the FDA, and I just want to give a shout out to Steve, Dr. Hahn, and the folks at the FDA where several hundred of my Commission Corps officers work. You're right, Mr. President. They are tireless. They're doing things that have never been.
You're right, Mr. President. No one has ever thought to compliment the people at the FDA. We've spent the last 10 years telling the FDA to leave us alone and let everything fall apart. You know, food safety, that's so 92.
Been done before.
Whatever.
I want America to know that blood donation is safe, and blood centers are taking extra precautions at this.
Here they are. Whoops, we got a blackout screen.
Tens of billions of
Beds 6 feet apart.
What happened? Hold on.
Them out. Social distancing does not have to mean social disengagement. So
Oh no, we're online, believe me.
give blood today. You'll feel good about it, and you'll be helping your country
By the way, Michael Ian Black, we salute you. He went and gave blood today. Summer and I are going to do it as well.
and your community during this crisis. And you might even save a life.
And most people don't know this, but I have, some people say, more blood than anyone else. I've got lots of, some people have double the blood of normal people. I'm not giving blood because I'm keeping all my blood for my progeny.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
They're storing it to make the elixir of life.
Yeah, please. Go ahead, Jim.
Mr. President,
Well, this is the part I love. Questions from the stupids.
switching to the efforts to boost the economy with the measures
Yes, say that, please.
before Congress,
The part I care about.
will you guarantee that the money, the billions, the tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars even, that's going to go to these industries will not go to
No, I will not guarantee that. But watch me buzz around it.
executive bonuses or to more stock buybacks?
Well, we don't want that. In fact, some companies, as you know, did stock buybacks, and I was never happy with that. It's very hard to tell them not to, but I would tell them not to. I would say I don't like it for them.
I would wag a finger at them. I mean, it's hard to tell them not to. I mean, you could put it in the bill and make this bailout legally binding in that regard to not give bonuses and use it for stock buybacks. But I don't think you should put it in law. It would be better if I just called them.
For that reason. Some did, and it turned out that they could have waited a long time. It would have been much.
Now he's giving stock advice.
If you guys had done the stock buybacks now, when everything's in the crapper, you should have called me. If you were on my short list, you would have seen this 2 weeks ago when I gave everybody and my friends a heads up.
Better off if they did.
You can make it a condition of the bill. You can say that none of this money can
I
go for
wouldn't
that.
mind making, it takes many, many people in this case to tango.
It takes many, many people in this case to tango. The phrase is it takes two to tango. I'm not aware of a version of the tango that involves a mob, but I'll scan the internet for it later. I'm worried about the search results though. I might have to turn safe search off.
But as far as I'm concerned, that conditions like that would be okay with me. John?
Mr. President, if I could, a question to you and then a question for Dr. Hahn. You enabled, I guess is probably the best way to put it, the Defense Production Act yesterday, but you didn't pull the trigger.
He signed it. He didn't enable it. He signed it and he didn't implement it. That's the words you're looking for.
On it.
No, because we hope we're not going to need that.
No, I signed it, but I hope we don't need it.
We needed it 2 weeks ago. All the stuff that comes from that is the result of problems we're going to have next week. That's what Dr. Fauci was talking about last week.
A lot of calls on Capitol Hill from the Democratic leadership. Pull the trigger on it. Why? What's the rationale for not doing it?
First of all, governors are supposed to be doing a lot of this work, and they are doing a lot of this work.
Look, I don't want to be bothered with this horse shit. The governors are supposed to take care of their own baloney, okay? This was not my, I don't
The federal
know.
government's not
Let them, the federal government's not,
supposed to be out there buying vast amounts of items and then shipping. We're not a shipping clerk.
Whoa. Whoa. Thank you, Stanley. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chats, you guys. What?
we're not here to buy stuff for you.
Was that the part of the governor call yesterday?
We had a great call, very productive call with the governors where I told them, we're not your shipping clerk. Go buy your own crap.
The governors are supposed to be, as with testing, the governors are supposed to.
Do your own testing. I don't know. Why are you bothering me? Lou Dobbs is on. Executive time.
Supposed to be doing it. We'll help out, and we'll help out wherever we can, and we can buy in volume, and in some cases, great volume, with the mask.
Or less volume. Sometimes big volume and small volume. I don't know. Are these on?
Masks, as an example, which were really a problem. We have helped out, and there are right now millions of masks being made. But this is really for the local governments, governors, and
You're on your own.
people within the state, depending on the way they divide it up. And they'll do that, and they're doing a very good job of it. Where you have a problem with ventilators, we're working very hard trying to find. Nobody in their wildest dreams would have ever thought that we need tens of thousands of ventilators.
Nobody in their wildest dreams. Nobody in the ventilators company was like, you know what, guys? I bet next year we're going to make thousands of ventilators. Shut up, Gary. We're never going to sell that many ventilators. I don't know. You got to dream big, guys. Nothing. No, Mr. President, in my wildest dreams, he said, I was on the phone with this guy from the ventilator company. He was like, you're the answer to my dreams, Mr. President.
This is something that's very unique to what happened.
Under what conditions would you put the Defense
Well, we'll see, but we're going to see, but we don't know, but we might have to. We hope we don't have to.
Production Act into action?
Well, if we were desperately in need of something, and we frankly will know about that very shortly, we want to be we don't want to do it as it happens, but before it happens, we're going to know a lot over the next 2 or 3 days. We'll know a lot.
For Dr. Hahn? Dr. Hahn, any idea when remdesivir will be available to the market?
It's Remdesivir. Excuse me, you mispronounced it. It's Remdesivir.
And are there any drugs in the pipeline that you believe could qualify for
you, Jill.
treatment IND?
So with respect to the first question, I'm prohibited by law to disclose confidential commercial information. What I can tell you is we're working very closely with the company on this, and we'll have additional information. They will, relatively soon. Yes, there are drugs in the pipeline. We're looking at everyone. Everyone on this dais gets calls every day, as do all of our people at the FDA, about potential therapeutic options. We are looking at every single one of them.
Mr. President, the question
Okay, wait a second. And it's pronounced Remdesivir.
for you, one on coronavirus, but just really quickly, are you confirming that Austin Tice is still alive?
No, I'm not, but we're trying to find that out. This has been.
Look, lady, don't interrupt me taking credit for something I'm going to do later by bringing up
Going on
details.
for years, many years, they've been trying to find Austin Tice. He was in Syria, as you know. His mother is an incredible woman, and I'm doing it for him, but I'm doing it for his mother. His mother's an incredible woman who's desperate to find her son, and I'm not confirming alive, but if he is alive, we would like very much to get him back quickly.
Okay, and on coronavirus,
Unlike people on a cruise ship, which, if we could push pause on that, it's not my fault that the numbers will go up. I don't want those to mess with my numbers. By the way, before he gets back, we're going to see if he has coronavirus. If he does, they can keep him.
speaking of shortages of supplies, the CDC has put out guidelines for hospitals that are dealing with a shortage of masks to use them beyond their shelf life, reuse them instead of getting new ones, and in a worst case scenario, use a bandana instead of a mask. How is that acceptable at all?
Listen, highlighter lady, you only wore that so I couldn't miss you, but since you're the only 9 in here, I would have answered your stupid question anyways.
Well, I haven't seen that, but I will let Mike answer that question, Vice President.
I'm happy to, Mr. President.
I'm happy to answer all the questions. You're going to throw me under the bus, and as long as you're in the bus, I'm glad to be under it.
I can't emphasize enough the incredible progress.
Incredible progress. People are working very hard. That they're doing such a great job and fantastic, and the sacrifice of the people up front on the front lines. Who the president just said, we don't know if we're going to need those masks. While people are saying, can I wrap my head in toilet paper? But there is none.
That was made with the passage of the legislation last night. The president had me go to Minnesota and meet with 3M that manufactures these N95 masks a few weeks ago. And we learned of their production at that facility of 35 million masks a month. Less than 5 million of those were qualified to be sold to hospitals. So the president worked with Republican and Democrat leadership. We've extended the liability protection. So now that all the industrial masks that are manufactured as N95s are now available to hospitals. And
wonderful. So we appreciate that business for doing that. But until then, everyone should look as much like a bandit from an Old West film as possible.
And we're seeing a dramatic increase in production. Honeywell alone is repurposing a factory that was destined for Mexico to produce another 120 million masks per year.
Wait a minute. Is Mexico paying for the masks?
3M is increasing output to 420 million masks per year. We've put a priority at the president's direction on making sure those that are providing healthcare services to America have the protection to keep themselves and their families safe.
By the way, the full cover masks that are used for industrial use that he's talking about, those 3M masks, are better suited for infectious disease than surgeons' masks, like the kinds you see nurses wearing and stuff, which is more about keeping expectorant from their nose and mouth from getting into your wounds and on you than it is keeping the any kind of disease out, like that you would breathe in. So these are the kind of masks. If you see, anytime you see somebody working with infectious disease, you're looking at full size, like what looks like a painter's mask and goggles, or a regular 3M mask. This is not surprising at all. The fact that it took him a couple of weeks and that he's patting himself on the back from this is sort of ridiculous.
And with the legislation last night, with the incredible response among
What are you talking about?
these great
Yeah, they're great. In a month, they're going to make these. In a month, it might be too late. What are they supposed to do in the meantime? I asked you a meantime question, dummy.
private sector companies, and as we mentioned repeatedly, with construction companies around America heeding the president's call to donate.
Oh, thank God that they are listening to the president. His leadership in saying, go ahead and do something about this. I need a nap is.
Industrial mass to hospitals. It's happening all over
Jesus.
America. We know we'll meet that need.
But when will those be ready?
No. You're not meeting the need. That's the point. You aren't. You are not. You are not currently meeting the need. This is ridiculous.
Isn't that
So
kind
how
of
many
sad? They have to
masks
use
are
a
being
big.
made, and when will they be ready, or at least we
Shut-
start getting them ready?
Shut it, lady.
As I mentioned, 3M is increasing their output to 420 million a year. At production in January, they make 35 million per month at that facility. And we're prioritizing the distribution of those. But the other thing, and we'll emphasize this with governors this afternoon, is we're working with governors to make sure that the healthcare providers, the hospitals, and the clinics in their state are placing
Well as Wendy's and our other corporate partners.
orders now that this tremendous increase in supply, particularly with industrial mass, is now available. We're going to make sure they understand that the supply has greatly expanded thanks to bipartisan legislation and the accomplishment of the president. And the response by these companies is making more masks available. And we're going to make sure healthcare providers are purchasing those, and the federal government will also make sure that our stockpile properly reflects those increases as well.
So basically, this is a way of shoveling money to 3M, right? Yeah. You caught me.
When will, on the president's question, when will those masks be ready
Sato.
for, because they need them like today?
They're available now. The 3M facility.
I don't know if you know, but you're already wearing them. Did you realize that you're already? I mean, honestly, do you not? There have to be. Yeah, I mean, the whole room is full of them. I don't even know what you're looking for. Honest to God.
That I was at told me that in January they went to full production on 35 million masks.
And so they're just sitting on a pile of them, kind of like the Joker. They just set fire to
The
them.
legislative change means that all 35 million of those that started to be produced at full capacity in January can now be sold to hospitals. That's the distinction here. It's a very important change, and it's part of the way the president has been engaging the private sector, pushing the country.
I am, that's right. I'm so good at this. I wish there were more pandemics so you guys could see how good I am at all this pandemic.
Regulatory reform and the kind of
I'm getting tired of standing.
liability reform that has greatly expanded the availability of masks. So they're in the marketplace now. We're going to make it clear to governors as
That they should go out and buy a bunch of them from our biggest donor in the Midwest.
made it clear to healthcare providers in conference calls yesterday that those resources are now there. We've vastly increased the supply of medical masks, and we're going to continue to put a priority on making sure that we're calling on industry at every level, calling on major suppliers that the president met with this week to make sure that those personal protective equipment are there.
Some
for our
of that
healthcare
had to
workers.
do with the liability to the company. They had a big problem with liability, and much of it had to do with the liability to the company.
They had a liability issue that had more to do with liability than the liability, than my ability to lie.
Mr. President,
Remdesivir.
thank you, two for you and one for Dr. Hahn. The American Hospital Association just told NBC
Thank you, Stanley.
News that they need $100 billion in order to address shortages in equipment and other infrastructure there. You just signed 2 legislative packages. They say it didn't directly give money to address.
Look, understand this. When Joe Biden takes over later on this year, because as soon as he wins the election, I'm checking out. It's 100% golf for me. I'm not helping them with transition. Not that they'd want my help, but when Biden takes over, they're going to reinforce the ACA and they're going to do all kinds of stuff to allow public option. People are going to recognize that they could buy into that instead of having private insurance. And over time, people will prefer it probably to the. So what I'm trying to do is make as much money for pharmaceutical and medical companies now so they can kind of front load and then they can spend all that money lobbying against it.
This issue. Why not? And will you commit to making
We're
sure they
looking
get the
at
money
that
they
issue directly with them.
We're looking at they're doing a fantastic job. We're going to look at it again. We'll stop looking at it about big and small and big and wide and short and fat and fat.
And that's a separate issue, but we're looking at that issue very directly.
I don't know what you just said.
sure and
We're
commit to
looking at it
giving
very
them the
We'll look at what you said. Somebody will tell me to look at what you just said, and I'll go, what was she talking about? And they'll go, we're dealing with it, and I'll go back to sleep.
money that
Well,
they
we're going to do our best on it, but
We're going to do our best on it, which we hope will make things go better than if we did our worst on it.
we're working with Democrats
It could go the other
and
way.
Republicans on that. We're looking at that very specifically.
It's bipartisan, which means we're letting the Democrats handle it, and then we're going to take credit for half of it.
bottom line, people. When can Americans expect their lives to go back to normal? Will that not happen until there's a vaccine?
I mean, I think this is the new normal. You know, America, welcome to your permanent gated community status.
I hope very soon. We'll see. This is uncharted territory, as you know.
You think?
We think we have
And I don't do charts, okay?
ideas. It doesn't help to say what the ideas are. I would hope very soon. We've pulled together as a nation. People are, for the most part, doing what they're supposed to be doing. The social distancing is very interesting, a whole new term that's become it's become somewhat of a hot term, but people
Great people can't wait to say it. They're trying it on in conversation. I said it. Most people call it, they call it STI. What do they call it? VD? What are those things? SD. They're hashtag social distance. They're trying it on like, they're so excited. It's a very exciting term. It's sweeping the nation.
are listening, and they're
I've already trademarked it.
really doing a great job. This country is an amazing country.
So good. People couldn't wait to get away from each other. It's so good.
I think you're up to 141 different countries right now, so it's very uncharted territory. Could have been stopped. Could have been stopped pretty easily if we had known, if everybody had known about it a number of months before people started reading about it.
You said you did
Excuse
know.
me. Excuse me.
Excuse me. I'm about to blame China for this, which, you know, I don't differentiate between Chinese people and China. So if I was you can't ask me questions like I'm smart. Because if I was smart, I would say the Chinese government. We blame the Chinese government because a Chinese doctor tried to warn everybody and they killed him, basically. So I could say magnanimous things about Chinese people who are struggling with the disease, fought up against it, did everything they could to stop it, and actually say Chinese government to make my political point. But instead, I can't tell the difference.
Before we started reading about it, it could have been stopped in its tracks. Unfortunately, they didn't decide to make it public, but the whole world is suffering because of it.
You did say a few days ago, though, you did have a sense that this was a pandemic that was coming. So why?
Yeah, when I said there's like one case and who cares, and then when I said it was going to go from 15 to 0 very, very quickly, and then pop, it was gone. That was my way of telling you I knew that this was going to be in for the long haul.
Why was the United States not prepared with more testing?
We were
and
very
supplies?
prepared.
We're very prepared. You've had a test. You don't even know it.
The only thing
I'm testing you right now. Now you don't have it. My spit is the antidote.
weren't-
Did I say antidote? I meant vaccine.
prepared for was the media. The media has not treated it fairly. I'll tell you how prepared I was.
The media See, we wanted people to think everybody could get a test. We said everybody could get a test who wanted a test. And then you went and looked and blew the whole thing. The media's been very unfair to me.
I called for a ban from people coming in from China.
Nope. From Wuhan, after they had already stopped people from leaving Wuhan.
Long before anybody thought it was, in fact, it was your network. I believe they called me a racist because I did that. It was many of the people in the room, they call me racist and other words because I did that. Because
In other words, orange, confused, bloviating, liar.
I went so early. So
They didn't call him that. New York Times says you must approach what the president says with an abundance of caution. One must translate what he's saying through a series of ideas.
when
He's
you
a
said
liar.
we weren't prepared, had I let these tens of thousands of people come in from China a day, we would have had something right now that would have been, you wouldn't have even recognized it.
We don't recognize this. We are in that situation. You know, if I hadn't stopped people from from coming in from a place they couldn't leave, you all would probably be locked at home right now.
Compared to where we are. How many people have passed away? How many people have died as of this moment?
A pittance, really, just what a small number.
You could multiply that by a factor of many, many, many.
A factor of many, many, many. Have you done the math? X dot 0 equals A times X to the many, many, many.
So when you say that
Is that many, not many, 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 many?
I wasn't prepared, I was the first one to do the ban. Now other countries are following what I did.
No other country is following what he's doing.
But the
Pakistan closed their flights and travel from that area so fast that they reopened them too early.
media doesn't acknowledge that. They know it's true. They know it's true, but they don't want to write about it. Yeah, go ahead.
They know it's true, like the fact that we had plenty of masks and we have too many ventilators. Seriously, if I see one more ventilator.
For you and then one for the medical professionals. I wanted to just follow up on John and Caitlin's question. So it's not just masks. Doctors are saying now that they are desperate for other personal protective gear, gloves, other equipment.
They have, look, they said no glove, no love for a long time, and I blew that off, and I am fine. I get my Boyle's Lance twice a week, and, and no one can tell that I'm slipping.
Doctors are saying that they don't have access to respirators and they're terrified.
I mean, look at Robert the Bruce in Braveheart. I don't look like that. It was all phony. AIDS was a Democrat hoax.
What is your reticence about invoking
Governors
the
are
Defense
supposed to
Production
get
Act?
it. The states are supposed
Get your own stuff. It's up to you. You're on your own,
to get it,
suckers.
but we're helping
The buck stops anywhere but here.
well, look, for years they bought them, and now all of a sudden they're coming to the federal government. We're working
Whoa.
For years, they're buying their own stuff, and now that there's a shortage and a pandemic,
with the states. We're working with the governors. We're working with everybody. The relationships are great. One of the things that happened this morning, I spoke with Mickey Arison of Carnival Cruise Lines, and he's going.
I have such a great relationship with the states. That's why I talked to the CEO of Carnival Cruise Lines, which, if you go to Trump Pence 2020 and donate to our campaign, there is a coupon on your next. You'll get your own coronavirus travel kit in your coronavirus suite where you can seal yourself in.
Going to make ships available. So in addition to the big medical ships that you have coming, if we should need ships.
If you need,
Jesus Christ.
if we're worried about, see, here's the thing. We recognize that everybody on a ship eventually gets it anyway. So we thought everybody who gets it, we'll just put them on a ship and then they can, and then it's iceberg time.
With lots of rooms. They'll be docked at New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco, different places.
Why use empty hotels that have access to hospitals when you can put them in boats offshore?
So I want to thank Mickey Arison. That's Carnival Cruise Lines.
Buy that stock right now. It's going to bounce back because I'm going to give them a bailout.
What is your reticence about invoking the Defense Production Act?
I've done it.
But you said that you don't
I've done
want
it.
to
Yeah.
invoke it yet.
If we
I
find
did it,
we
but I don't need to
something
do it.
that We will do that. And you
We
don't know
don't
what
need to
we've
do
done.
it.
You don't know whether or not we've ordered. You don't know
You
if
don't know
we've
what I
invented.
did. I just said I didn't do it, but that doesn't mean I did it when I'm doing it. I might be doing it right now. You're so stupid. You think that I haven't done what I'm not going to do. And now it's done. Get
You
it?
don't know what's been ordered, what's not been ordered.
You don't know. You don't know. How could you know?
I can only tell you that, as an example, masks. Nobody ever heard of the number of masks that's been ordered. They're being made now, and many are available now. But people,
Pence is in the back. Look at this. Pence is in the back nodding during this whole thing. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think, in the
Oh,
media
yeah, yeah,
public,
yeah.
Look, masks. We got masks covered.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, just from our, because Mother and I have our eyes wide shut parties with a sort of a practical down home kind of a feel. So we wear a lot of Home Depot gear at our key parties. The president likes the big kind of French aristocracy and the plague mask kind of eyes wide shut parties. But Mother and I wear kind of standard like because one time a neighbor came over in the middle and we realized this is not going to work. So it best looks like we're trying to paint the rec room.
probably don't know that.
You don't know what we haven't done, even though I just told you I haven't done it. What the what?
Go ahead, behind.
Thank you. Could you explain the gap for the American people and what you're saying here today about there being tens of thousands?
And the volume of can you explain the gap between the volume of bullshit that you are spraying on this room like a cow running a horse race with explosive diarrhea
Of tests available?
and objective reality? Can you explain that to us and make it quick because I've got glasses.
About how there being a huge amount of masks available and what we're seeing on the ground, which is really the
A lot the opposite of what you're saying.
opposite of that. People are saying that they can't get tested even when they have symptoms. People are saying that doctors are telling us they don't have access to vital equipment. Can you explain that gap?
Well, doctors are fake news.
Well, I cannot explain a gap. I'm hearing very good things on the ground, and
From what all my yes men are telling me, that I'm being perfect. And if you're hearing something different, that's clearly those doctors are probably A, sick, B, probably Democrats.
we're dealing with love. They had to ramp up. They had an obsolete system, and they had a system simultaneously that was not
We've already got stuff. We're overdone.
meant for
We
this.
got too
It
much.
wasn't meant for this.
We
Nobody
have
knew
too
there'd
much
be
stuff.
a pandemic or an epidemic of this proportion. Nobody's ever seen anything like
Nobody's
this
seen
before.
anything like this before, except maybe the Office of Pandemic Response that I shut down. But other than that,
I can tell you that what we're
I'm just going to continue spraying bullshit all over you like a hose every day.
doing is we're working with local governments, with states, governors, even mayors, on getting them to be able to get what they need. And the system is starting to work out very well. But
It's starting to work great. I mean, honestly, no one could have seen this coming except 6 months ago when everybody told me this was coming, and I went, "Meh." Every reporter was saying, "Are you concerned? Because this looks like shit hitting the fan." And I was like, "That's the best place for shit to hit. I have a lot of fans, and I shit all over them."
we had to break a system, like breaking an egg, because the system we had was obsolete and didn't work. And that was a system we
You can't make an omelet without testing some drugs on masses of New Yorkers.
inherited. And now we have something that's really been very good and certainly going to be great for the future, too. Yeah, Brett.
We're going to have stockpiles of ventilators.
Thank you so much, Kokomo. I have no idea what the sparkles and the hearts are, but I appreciate it.
Among congressional Republicans and then your supporters about a corporate bailout. In particular, Senator Mike Braun said that this could harken back to 2008, where we're picking winners and losers.
No. See, the 2008 bailout to save companies, which was half the size of this, was twice as bad. And this is twice as big, so it's half as great. Which is more great than anyone even thought was possible.
And he indicated that he and some of his colleagues may not be comfortable with that. What do you say to that?
Well, we don't want to pick winners and losers. We want everybody to benefit. We want, I think, more than anything else, the workers to benefit. And sometimes for
That's why I'm giving it, because nobody services workers like Carnival Cruise Lines and our giant hotel
the
chains.
worker to benefit, you have to go through the company because they have thousands of workers. And if the company goes out of business, no fault of their own, those workers aren't going to be able to receive a check. So look, our ultimate goal.
Look, bonuses got a
The
bonus.
people, our ultimate goal are the great people of this country, and we will have.
Yeah, you're right. I can't stop lying. Someone get that reporter a BS poncho. This is like a bullshit Gallagher show. This is, they're just like, they're going to all be covered in tarps.
Have things worked out. I think that.
Which probably, in the light of the number of people he's shaken hands with at Mar-a-Lago, not a bad idea.
Going to be very well. It's a very complex formula. You understand that? Very complex.
You don't understand what we're doing up here.
But it's working out. I think
so great. It's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be very well. I think we're going to have pretty uniform support for it. Please.
Mr. President, we're hearing the state department is going to put out an advisory telling Americans not to travel overseas at all. Are you putting in an overseas?
Well, we might do that, but we're thinking about it. We'll look into that seriously.
Travel
ban? We're speaking with the State Department later. I can't say right now because I haven't had the meeting yet.
You haven't had a meeting about whether or not you should stop travel? You haven't had a meeting about that? Not one?
Thank you, President Trump. I wanted to ask Dr. Hahn about today's announcement, if I could.
Please talk. I'm sick of this.
Dr. Hahn, thank you so much. I wanted to ask...
Why does that reporter not have "love you" on her eyelids when she closes them at me like Indiana Jones? You guys are all fired.
Remdesivir, if I hope I pronounced that correctly. Can you say, is it currently approved for use on the virus?
So remdesivir, and it's...
Excuse me. It's remdesivir. TM.
It's a drug made by Gilead. That's been in the press.
Look at Trump.
Yes.
He's smiling.
It is currently in clinical...
Why is this asshole smiling?
Trials here and around the world. We have also made it available by that approach that I told you called compassionate use, where a doctor could ask the FDA for that. And the really positive thing about that gives it rapidly to a doctor and a patient, but it allows...
He's fine. I have no need or desire to make fun of what he's saying.
They actually are doing a lot.
Guidance that you have put through will be extended.
I can only tell you on the 14th day, and we'll have to see. We'll have indications later on.
Dr. Birx indicated that there are 3 states and 10 counties, if I got that right, where 50% of the cases are focused. Should those areas be doing more measures such as shelter in place?
I think they...
Yeah, and that's where the testing should go primarily, right away. And you should center out from the most cases. They have fever tracking data that they've got from that app that would tell you immediately.
They actually are doing a lot. I mean, I know New York is working very diligently, been very strong. I assume San Francisco is one of the areas, and Los Angeles, and state of Washington, obviously. That's one that has to be up there. They're all working very hard.
And D.C. now.
To quarantine, or words just about the equivalent of quarantine.
There's other words. Some people call it quarantine. Other people are calling it quarantoire.
What is your plan, sir, for government workers? Are you...
Some people say quarantine or quarantine, if you use the French.
Moving for the government as well to start doing more teleworking?
We are, and we're using the medical term of telemedicine, and it's
a great term for what it actually is. Some people are just starting to call it telemedicine, and what it is you get your medical advice from the television. You watch me, and I will tell you what drugs to take and how many. And then someone, as you've already taken the pills, will race to the podium and go, no, 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 no. And that's medicine from now on.
Been incredibly busy, and really, where people don't have to. I mean, some people can't do it anyway. They can't get up. They can't see a doctor. But
can't go anywhere. They can't, So what we're suggesting is that those people FaceTime with their doctor. They're doing a thing called telemedicine. We're calling it telemedicine. And a lot of people are doing telemedicine, and it's something we just invented that's been happening for the last 8 to 10 years.
And it's been telehealth, different.
Some people call it telehealth. Other people call it telemedicine.
Names, and
I call it televoir.
Tell you that it's been really successful. It's helped a lot of people out. where they don't have to, and they can't, and even from a safety reason, if they are positive, if they are feeling poorly,
They should
they
stay
can't
home.
do it, or we don't want them transmitting anything to anybody else.
Mr. President, if I could, on China, they reported for the first time since the outbreak, no new cases over a 24-hour period. Do you have any reason to disbelieve them? And second to that, the National Security Council yesterday put out a tweet very critical of the Chinese government, saying the Chinese Communist Party suppressed initial reports on the Chinese virus and punished doctors and journalists, causing Chinese and international experts to miss critical opportunities to prevent a global pandemic. Could you expand?
Well, it
on
would
that?
have been much better if we had known about this a number of months earlier. It could have been contained
Would
to
have
that
been
one
so
area in
good.
China where it started. And certainly the world is paying a big price for what they did. And
Yeah, but we knew they were lying. The CDC was ringing the phone going, these numbers are BS. We have people there. We know this is bad. They saw, everyone at the CDC and the NIH saw Li Wenliang's posts on social media within days. They knew. Our government knew as it was going along. They were trying to figure out a way to convince him.
the world is paying a very big price for not letting
For us ignoring people just like the Chinese government did.
them come out. Everybody knows that. We all know that. As far as believing what they're putting out now, I hope it's true. Who knows? But I hope it's true. I really do.
Quickly, a question for you, and then also for the doctor, if possible.
Oh, OAN News. Look at the dude. Oh my God. Look at this. Wait. Look at the other reporter. Jesus, this guy. They're all like, go ahead, OAN. Like, and here's the thing. They know the kind of questions he's going to ask, and they're total softballs, and they're trying to, fillet the president on air. But they all have to hang out with this dude in between, too. So I'm sure the knowledge bombs he's dropping about, well, it's all hoax anyways, let's be honest.
You've been talking about China quite a bit, and you've been talking about the Chinese virus, how if you had heard about this on day one and had more information, possibly you could have stopped it.
Big difference.
Are you...
Isn't OAM, somebody in the chat will know, is OAN financed by the same people that do the Epic Times, the one that does that weird, the weird cult that funds Epic Times and is doing this?
Thinking
like the Moonies or something like that?
about any types of repercussions for China, and are you also rethinking sort of the supply line?
But I'm thinking of spanking for Xi Jinping, and we have a great relationship. Not as good as my relationship with Kim Jong-un.
For our manufacturing?
He's got a solution. His solution to this has been good.
I don't want to comment on that right now. Yeah.
President, I have a question for you and also a question
I just want you to say that so people are thinking it, and then I won't comment.
for Dr. Birx, if you,
Why don't you have "love you" written on your eyelids? Pretend I'm Harrison Ford.
American workers across the country are losing their jobs at an unprecedented rate, and your former
It's not my fault, okay?
economist said we could see some of the worst
Shh. Blue-eyed lady, listen. Shush. It's working great.
job numbers ever.
I don't believe those
Is
numbers.
the government prepared to see this spike in unemployment?
Worst case scenario, you would have terrible job numbers. If we can get this thing wrapped up and finished earlier, things will go very nicely. And one of the things they're working, as you know, one of the elements that is being worked on very much so in the Hill is to keep the jobs going so that when we do get rid of the virus, we're going to be able to just really, I think, go like a rocket. I think the economy is going to be fantastic. Now, when he said that, he was using that as the ultimate bad outcome. I don't think anybody believes that's going to happen. Go ahead. You.
Members of Congress are now being tested positive for. Members of Congress are now being tested positive for coronavirus.
Good.
And you have almost 24 who are self-quarantining. Do you have any guidance for Congress? Should they?
I know all of them, and
I'm saying hang in there, Devin.
I don't know if they're sitting like you people are sitting. You're actually sitting too close. We should probably get rid of about another 75, 80% of you. I'll have just 2 or 3 that I like.
Remember the joke I told at the beginning about how it's easier when I have to talk to fewer reporters? This would be so friggin' sweet if we.
In this room, I think that's a
I thought I'd just bring that. It's called in the business, we call that a callback. Try the veal. I'll be in self quarantine all week.
great way of doing it. We just
We have veal. Send someone out for veal, but make them leave it on the stoop and they can't come back
get a
in.
new way of doing it, but you're actually much too close. You know, you two, you should leave immediately.
Get it?
But look, I know
You should leave immediately. What a creep.
all of them. They tested positive. Hopefully, they're all going to get better. And it's one of those things. It's
Hopefully, they're all going to get better. If some of them don't, you know, you can't make an omelet
Congress. You know, it's one of those things.
without cracking. Some people call them egg drops. Some people call it egg droppings.
Should they keep going to the Hill, or should they?
Well, I don't
is
think
there
they're going to
CDC
the Hill. I
guidance
mean, I
for-
know some where they tested positive. They're in quarantine, and I know Lindsay and many others they didn't test it, but until they got the result, they put themselves in quarantine. A number of people in Congress right now are in quarantine. They don't know the results. When they get the result, they'll either stay there and get better,
And cough on, or stay, or go home and cough on their family.
because people get better. I mean, most
They do. Most people get better. I don't know if you're worried about the overwhelming of the healthcare industry because of 20% of the people that require ventilators and respirators, and the fact that we are completely understaffed and don't have the equipment and don't have the masks to deal with an onslaught that big, and that doctors and medical professionals get a huge load of the virus from being that close to people who are expectorating a violent amount of the. I don't know why you're worried about the 20% that need hospitalization that could wipe out a third of our medical personnel in the country in the process. I don't know why you're worried about that. Most people walk it off and don't even know they have it while they're spreading it.
people are getting better. Most, by far, the people you get better.
You get so much better. And if you don't, why do you hate America?
Doesn't mean it's not a tough one. It is a tough one. But no, when many people in Congress have felt not perfect, or they met somebody that wasn't perfect. It turned out
Sometimes you meet someone and you're like, sorry, you're a 6.
to be positive, and they've put themselves in quarantine. And I think that
That's right. So anybody who isn't perfect will test positive for this disease. That's how we're culling the herd.
I think Congress has behaved unbelievably well in that regard.
Mr. President, on the stimulus, sir, given what is happening to the economy, do you think $1 trillion stimulus is enough?
Well, we'll see. I don't want to. We'll see.
Know about that later on. We'll see what happens.
Ask me again in 14 days.
It depends how long. So much depends on what's going on in this room in terms of the medical. If we can stop it in its tracks, the virus, it's plenty.
We can't.
If we can't, well,
He thinks the therapeutics are going to be the thing that cures people on the bed. And so you won't need it. The vaccine will be secondary.
have to go back and talk.
Do you support the idea of the government taking an equity stake in certain?
Oh, yeah, he does.
I do. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you know what? When the government has an equity stake in major companies is called? What's that word? What's the word? It's been bandied about. People, it tests very well amongst the young, but the older generation seem to hate it. There's a word.
I'm not gonna say, but I think so. Look,
Some companies, others should be completely private and have to compete against some industries that get government support and never get up. Like, oh my God, I just made the case for Joe Biden's health plan.
people are coming in for money. In some cases, no fault of their own, but in some cases where they did certain things over the course of the years, including buying back stock. You know, they bought back stock and they paid a high price for it, as it turned out. But maybe I view that as a little bit differently than somebody that didn't, than somebody that built plants all over the United States, of which there were plenty of them.
So basically, I want to punish certain companies that supported me and did what I told them to. And if they didn't, they used other mechanisms to make their company strong, then those people I will punish.
Consider airlines or Boeing, or what are you thinking of?
We will
Well, of course.
Be helping the airline industry. We will be helping the cruise ship industry. We probably will be helping the hotel industry. We'll probably be where jobs are created. You don't want to lose industries like this. These are incredible industries. You can't lose them. So we'll
Cruise ships?
be focused on many industries. And I have to say, I can't say it strongly enough. We will be helping small businesses. That's where it's complicated because there's a lot of small, that's the engine of the
The Congress is handling that part of it.
of the country. We will be helping small businesses.
Dr. Hahn, Mr. President.
These two members of Congress that have tested positive for coronavirus, these will be votes that you need to pass this $1 trillion stimulus package for the economy. Do you expect this to slow down the delivery of checks for American families? And are you considering any
No.
executive action?
There could be. We're looking at a couple of things that I could do. Hopefully, we won't need it, but we can do. There's a lot of executive power. If we don't have to use it, that would be a good thing, not a bad thing. Yeah, please.
Thank you. So there's things I can do, but I'm not going to do them. But if I do them, it's because I can do them, but I can't do them.
Mr. President, one for you and potentially as well one for either Dr. Birx or Dr. Adams. Right now, the economy is essentially ground to a halt.
Thanks for telling us. We appreciate it.
Stores have closed. Travel has slowed down.
Go ahead. What's the rest of your question? We know that. Everybody in the room knows that.
The question is, how long should those who are either not working right now or business owners who have to make critical decisions, how long should they expect the state of affairs as it stands at this moment to play out? And for the doctors behind you,
2 15-day cycles.
We'll be able to tell you that I think in the near future. We'll see where we're going.
Right about the time I released my taxes and the Republican health plan, which is so good and so cheap and so easy, we'll give you the information about when in the very next short period of time.
You see numbers. You've seen the graphs. You're going to see.
They hate it when I move my hand like that because it means dead, pile of dead.
Numbers, and we'll be able to let you know. I will say that the American public has been incredible for the most part, not in all cases, but for the most part.
Some of you are a-holes.
So you'll be able to see what's happening over the next, as we say, we had a 15-day period. You'll be able to tell a lot in a week or so, not everything, but we'll be able to see over a period of time.
and for all the parents that are home right now, and this is a question for Dr. Birx or Dr. Adams, who are caring for their children and are curious as to when might my kids be able to go back to school, what do you think is a realistic timeline?
They don't know. They don't know. Quit it.
Are so impressive across the.
If chloroquine or hydroxy.
The key to this, though, is every single American.
Oh, I can't wait. Let me.
Looking at the
Here
president's
he comes.
guidelines.
He's gonna
and
tell you the
taking it
drugs. He's
seriously.
looking at the drugs. He's gonna mention them again. So he's reading over her shoulder. His notes are in big Sharpie ink on the podium.
The acts of selflessness that I am
Can we get bigger mics? These look silly.
seeing
No, on second thought, they make me look gigantic. Keep them.
are
So
impressive across the board. But if even 10 or 15% of the population decides that what they're doing today is more important than the health and welfare of the rest of the Americans, they can spread the virus in a very strong way because you know the level of contagion.
And I have to say, if chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine works, or any of the other things that they're looking at that are not quite as far out, but if they work.
some of them are far out, man. Ludes, taking acid and going for a swim. Like, there's all kinds of. Some of these suggestions are far out.
Your numbers are going to come down very rapidly. So we'll see what happens. But there's a real chance that they might work.
They could work. Things could work, and if they work, they'll work. So it's good with the things that work will
Go ahead,
work.
please. In the back.
Thank you so much. What is your message for some leaders in Latin America?
You got a bookish kind of thing going on. Like, I bet you I'd give you a 4, and then you take the glasses off and shake your head, and you go straight, you'd skyrocket to like a 9. Are you a singing telegram?
America, like the president of Brazil, who just on Sunday was taking photos with supporters and encouraging.
I can't understand your accent, so I'm just going to have to give you a generic answer based on 3 words that I can recognize.
Mass demonstration. And just yesterday, the president from Brazil said that we should not be surprised if we see him in the next few days in a crowded subway in São Paulo or in a bus in Rio, because he is the president and should be with the people. What do you think about that? What is your message?
Well, he's a friend of mine, number one. And number two, we had dinner the other night, and everybody said he was positive, and he wasn't positive. He tested negative. So that was, I was quite happy when I heard that. But I have no message for him other than he's doing a
No, he's doing a fantastic job.
good job in Brazil.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. So this is what any leader should do in the middle of a pandemic. Go down on a crowded subway and walk around. What?
He's doing a good job in Brazil, and he's very popular.
He's doing super. He's so popular, he wants to die amongst the people.
Encouraging mass demonstration at this moment.
I can't tell you about that. I don't know about that. I have not heard that. He's doing a very good job. Brazil was very troubled before he got there.
Brazil, I think he should encourage certain people to go and stand out in large crowds in Brazil, because that, is a great way to stop a caravan. That's my 2 cents.
And the people love him, and he's popular.
They love him so much they want him to come to a crowded subway so they can cough into his own elbow. They can cough on his elbow.
I think he's doing a very good job.
She's like, could you please answer my question? Should the people of Brazil be walking around in giant crowds? It's a fantastic job. I don't know.
There are Americans who were traveling abroad who were essentially.
We're almost done. We got a couple minutes left of this. I'm gonna game a little bit later. If you guys are enjoying this, thanks for sticking around. I hope this helps you get through these daily briefings, get the information that's worthwhile, and obliterate the nonsense, because that's my goal here, and also to keep you entertained. I will be on every day that we're in this, because we're all in this together. So thanks for hanging out.
Unable to come home. We spoke to a group
In Peru?
of 10 women who, American.
Wait, whoa. Did you say you talked to 10 women or a woman that was a 10? Because that's important. Because I don't go in, no matter what Carlin says, 5 twos don't count.
Where?
Well, we spoke to 10 American women who were in Morocco, for instance. All the flights have been canceled. Their hotel is shutting down. They literally have no place to stay and no way to get home. They are asking you, they're asking the administration, the U.S. government for help. What can be done?
We know about it. We have groups. We have a group of young people in Peru,
good.
and we're working on taking care of that with the military.
So military evacuation.
Yeah, we're looking to take, no, not evacuation. We're trying to get them out.
We're not getting them out of there. They're on their own. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
Caught. They were late with their flights. We gave them a period of time. They didn't make it, but we're looking to get them out with military.
We are working on 2 hostages, though. We're talking with dictators about doing a hostage transfer. But if you couldn't make your flight, sorry, no refund. It's like a $125 change fee.
Military, probably through the military. We have a group of young people, I think young men or young people, could be women also with them, from Alabama, the great state of Alabama, and they're in Peru, and we're working on that right now, trying to get.
Yeah, the Alabama people, that state went my way last time. But I heard some people in Pennsylvania are there, and unless the Secretary of State says he's going to rig the voting machines again, I'm not letting them back.
Get them out. It's a large group. It's about 300. Well, we're going to work it out, Jeff.
Mr. President.
We'll work it out. Like a kink in your back.
2 sort of foreign policy related questions. In your talk with the G7 leaders earlier this week, did you discuss together ending or postponing the Olympics?
Yeah, we did discuss it.
We talked about that or whatever, and we talked about our handicaps and the taco bowl at Trump Tower. We had a great discussion.
As you know,
G7 countries. That's where I learned how to pronounce war.
Prime Minister Abiy was on the call, and that's a big decision for him, and we don't know what his decision is, but we'd live with his decision. It's a tough situation. They've done an incredible job. Japan.
Fantastic job, incredible job.
Japan has done an incredible job on building the
incredible job and fantastic
venues,
job.
getting them built. You've seen so many Olympic venues that have been a disaster over the years, where they cost 5 times more than they were supposed to. They weren't ready.
This one's working out great. He was right on. He must be so pissed right now. He was so on point. They were going to be finished just in time, and then
Ready on time. Japan has been just the opposite.
Maybe they were right about Nanjing.
They built it beautifully. They built it for what it was supposed to be built for. But then he got hit with the same thing that the rest of the world got hit with unexpectedly. He has told us that he has not made a decision as to what to do.
No, he has no idea what's going on.
Also,
By the way, Patreon me, you rats. If you're having a good time.
month more policy.
$5 a month minimum. That's the little, like, the low rung. You can do it while we're stuck in this. If you can't, please don't. If you can't afford it, if you're on there and you can't afford it right now because stuff's scary, you lose your job, forget it. But if you can, because you're retired or at home or just sitting around, yeah,
Have you
help support my radio show because that's it. But anyway,
spoken to the leaders of Saudi Arabia or Russia and encouraged them to stop this glut of oil that is affecting the market?
Well, the one thing I will tell you is that from the standpoint, you always get a little bit torn because, until we became the leading producer, I was always for the person driving the car and filling up the tank of gas. And
now I'm for the oil producers because I feel like, my buddies are those companies and I'm trying to fill their pockets and they're my donors and we got an election season.
You'd have gasoline and the prices were, if they were too high, I would always raise hell with OPEC. And
OPEC, because my brain is stuck in 1978.
I was always somebody that likes it. I never thought I'd see 22 and 24 and $28 a barrel, but that's what we have. And in one way, our consumer is very much helped. It's like a massive tax increase. That's bigger than any tax decrease that you could give. We can give
increase, decreases. You can move it whether this way or that way.
all these big tax cuts, but they're paying so little for gasoline. But
at the same time, MBS is a buddy. Russia gets sad.
On the other hand, it hurts a great industry and a very powerful industry. So
It means that Pooty Poot has less money to lend me.
Spoke with numerous people that have a lot to do with it, and we have a lot of power over the situation, and we're trying to find some kind of a medium ground. It's very devastating to Russia because.
Whoops. Poor what? Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. Maybe we need to take off the sanctions right now. Maybe that would do us some good. You know what I mean? Because Russia's hurting, guys.
When you look, their whole economy is based on that, and we have the lowest oil prices in decades. So it's very devastating to Russia. I would say it's very bad for Saudi Arabia, but they're in a fight. They're in a fight on price. They're in a fight on output.
Whoa.
And at the appropriate time, I'll get involved.
And forgive me if I missed it. What will the Carnival cruise ships be used for?
Well, Mickey.
I don't know if you've ever been on one. I usually do private yachts. But just think Epstein's boat, but bigger.
He called up and he said, if you need them, and we haven't said yes, I'll call Governor Cuomo. I'll call.
You can have them, but you have to clean them afterwards. It's the same deal he and I do when we share condoms.
Gavin Newsom, governor from California. I'll call a few of the other governors. Are going to bring it up today because we're meeting through telephone, telephonically, as they say.
Nobody says that except being ridiculous.
What are you doing, Mr. President? I'm talking to him telephonically. Why is this thing not work or whatever? It's got buttons on it. Telephonically. Wasn't that an Oasis album?
In a little while at FEMA. I'm going over to FEMA from here.
I'm going to go to FEMA and talk to them telephonically from a distance. From a distance, I am talking to...
Hospital beds? Well, you can increase...
Telephonically.
Places to stay. Let's say places to stay.
Just hang out, places to stay, as you do or whatever. And they won't even charge him the full cabin rate. There won't be any on-board entertainment, though.
If it works. I don't know. Maybe people won't want them, but he made...
Maybe people don't want to... they will have to swim out on their own in shark-infested waters. But, it's a way, maybe that in and of itself is a test. So we're releasing thousands and thousands of sharks. Tests.
The offer was a very generous offer. And he said that he has some ships that would be ideally suited for what we're doing. And certainly they have a lot of rooms. They're big and they have a lot of rooms. So we appreciate...
Great. and you know, there are a lot of common surfaces, and they're harder to clean than a hotel, and the staff can't leave. So if everybody gets sick, everybody has to stay. We just sink the ship.
Appreciate it from Carnival.
This is the greatest thing because I had all these people and they were like gonna land and up my numbers, and now I can put them back on the ship. So if I take people who are sick and I put them on the boats, the number goes down.
At what point in the future will any American who wants a test be able to get a test? Because you're talking about
Look, I don't know if you heard this. This is a fake news. Everybody got tested last week, whether they wanted to or not.
not needing a test right now if you're not showing any symptoms, but a lot of
Not
this
needing the test?
or only getting tested if you're showing symptoms, but a lot of this.
Well, no, you should only get. You should. I didn't have any symptoms and I got a test, but I got a test because you people were driving everybody crazy.
I only got a test because I shook hands with people. I was in proximity of 9 people who have tested positive and 16 people who have quarantined themselves. I only got the test because of you people and not because of due diligence. I should have waited until I was already sick because nothing helps the stock market like a president who's got a dry lunger cough like Doc Holliday.
So that's the only reason
I got the test because I'll be your
I had
Huckleberry.
no symptoms, but I had a test. And
You're the president of the United States. Everybody around you should get tested. It's a perimeter thing. DC's one of the hot spots.
my doctor told me don't get it. You don't need it. Everybody said you don't need it.
He's a good doctor. He said, look, you're 6'9", you weigh 18 stone, or otherwise some people say 135 pounds, lean, cut. You're 9 inches of man meat, and you don't need a test, he said.
But I had to do it because
he put the glove on, and I was like, go for it anyways. Moon River.
the press was going crazy.
They were going nuts because a bunch of people I had talked to, shook hands with, hung out with, had dinner with, met with repeatedly were coughing into bloody rags.
And then after I got it, they said, you shouldn't have gotten it. You had no symptoms. You know, the whole thing. So in other words, if you get it, it was no good. But I'm a unique case, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're a unique case, all right.
But no, people that don't show symptoms.
Who knew that 4th stage syphilis just punches coronavirus right in the face?
Symptoms and people that have doctors.
It's like a double negative.
That say they shouldn't get it. I would rely on that. Yeah, I would rely on that.
President.
Mr. President, thank you. I have 2 questions. Do you consider the term Chinese?
OA.
I'll answer half of one.
Yes, sir. Thank
Very
you.
good.
I
Thank
have
you
2
very
questions.
Now we got 2 OAN network people. Very good network. Never mind that I helped you guys get state financing.
Treat me very nicely.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
Treat me very nicely. Oh, and look at who they
consider
sent.
the term Chinese food racist
No.
because it's food that originates in China or it has Chinese
No, I don't think it's
And on that
racist.
note-
I don't think it's racist at all.
On that note, major left-wing news media, even in this room, have teamed up.
So, Chinese virus is not racist because Chinese food is not racist. Get it, people? Get it? Guy from OAN who was supposed to ask this question? Use her cards from now on.
Up with Chinese Communist Party narratives, and they're claiming you are racist for making these claims about Chinese virus. Is it alarming that major media players just to oppose you are consistently siding with foreign state propaganda, Islamic radicals, and Latin gangs and cartels? And they work right here at the White House with direct access to you and your team.
Look at the dude in front of her. He's like, this, what the? Wait, because you call Mexican people animals, and when we go, yeah, that's racist. You go,
Well, I was talking about MS-13. I just wanted to throw that out there that I was calling them racist just to make my supporters happy for about a half hour. It's called comfort racism. Don't you know how this works?
It amazes me when I read the things that I read. It amazes me when I read
We're amazed that you can read. So
the Wall Street Journal, which is always so negative.
the Wall Street Journal.
why has Rupert turned on me?
It amazes me when
I now have to rely on this cable access channel run by a cult and financed through buddies of
When I
mine.
read the New York Times is not even, I barely read it. You know, we don't distribute it in the White House anymore, and the same thing with the Washington Post. Because you see, I know the truth. And people
I know the truth.
out there in the world, they really don't know the truth. They don't know what it is.
That's why I do these briefings, so you guys know what the truth is and not the.
They use different slogans and different concepts for me almost every week, trying to catch something. Last week it was, oh, chaos. You see me, there's no chaos. I have no chaos. I'm the
There's no chaos. There used to be 50 people up here. Then it went to 10. Now it's down to 5. Fauci's gone. There's 4 people up here, including me. I have them do the Dear Leader stuff because people ask for it. It's by request. It's not because I need it. And we are fixing statements that I say that are wrong immediately now, live time. They push me out of the way and say stuff. So there's no
one
chaos.
telling everybody to be calm. There's no
Told everybody, have a dinner. Don't say, yes, you're going to be at home by yourself, unable to go out and places are closing. But I don't want you to just eat. Stay home.
chaos at the White House. We have unbelievable professionals. It's really,
It's not chaos. They're doing their job. I'm getting a spray tan. That's not chaos.
I think I came up with the term.
This is chaos. But back there,
I hope I came up with the term, but it is fake news. It's more than fake news. It's
I invented fake news. It's coronavirus fake
corrupt
news.
news.
Corrupt news. These people don't care.
They write stories without calling anybody. They write a story today. I had a couple of stories where they never call me, ever, that I know of. At least nobody tells me. They'll write a story about me without even asking my opinion on something. It's totally fake.
They ask the White House for comment all the time. The White House was not available for comment. Is them calling your office and them not putting you through because you've told them not to?
They never ask me, except when I'm on my way to a helicopter. And who the shit can answer
I've
that?
never seen. I mean, there is a story in the Wall Street Journal today about, about how we've done. We've done a phenomenal job on this. The governors, even Gavin Newsom, who I'm usually fighting with over the fires, and I think you should do a different kind of a job in the forests and lots of things. We
He should sweep his forests, and all of his trees now have COVID-19. It's not his fault. It's I blame Cuomo. But the point is that normally he hates me, but he said I'm getting everything because he asks for stuff early because he was ahead of the curve on this. So he basically got all of our stockpiles.
we argue a lot, but Gavin Newsom's been very, very generous. Andrew Cuomo's been really very generous. I mean,
Because they were way ahead of this, and they ate up the stockpiles.
they're saying we're doing a great job, and
now I don't know why, but the big giant blue states who are run by Democrats are all happy with me and the stuff that they're getting from the federal government. And all these red states are all mad because there's no ventilators left.
everybody's saying. But then you'll read this phony story in the Wall Street Journal, or the Washington Post is going wild lately. I don't know what happened to them. I guess something happened, like we don't call them back or whatever. But the Washington Post,
They should call me, but we don't call them back. That's why, you know what I mean? If they would call me more often, I could not call them back more often. They don't even ask me when I don't pick up the phone and don't call back.
these are very dishonest media sources. They're very dishonest. And you know what?
What you're hearing here is the truth with a slightly better pronunciation.
Someday,
that
hopefully in 5 years, I won't be here.
Oh, well, all right, I'm leaving that one right there. I'm not.
And that'll be fine. I will have done, I think, a great job, because I don't think anyone's done as much in 3.5 years as I've done. I don't think.
Well, there's an unqualified statement for you.
I've done a lot of stuff. You can't argue with volume.
And the administration.
Like when I talk louder, my words are more important.
This administration's done a great
And when if I whisper, it's not important.
great job. But the press is very dishonest.
More than dishonest, they're siding with state propaganda.
Well, I think they do. I mean,
These people are.
they are siding with They are siding with China. They are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're siding with many others. China's the least of it. So why they're doing this, you'll have to ask them.
I think because clearly they hate America. But anyways, but that reminds me. What more do you need from me, Russia?
But if we had an honest media in this country,
They would notice that I cite Russian propaganda all the time.
our country would be an even greater place.
I wouldn't have to do that if they didn't cite Italy's statistics.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are very excited about. Specifically.
We're very excited about this. Okay, come on, human pyramid. I told you guys, we're very excited. Aren't you excited? I'm excited. Are we excited? Oh, we have to protect our phony baloney jobs, gentlemen. Blah, 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 blah.
What we talked about with the chloroquine, I think the.
And some people say hydrochloroquine, which is when you mix it in water.
I think it could be something really incredible.
Super excited about the potential for this. If it's not, I'll tell you how many people died from it next week. But
it could totally depress the times that we had mentioned. Wait.
Speaking of depressing times.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, shut up. This is my exit. I take my last question from OAN where they slam the press and then I leave. This is what we coordinated. Don't you people read?
It could totally depress any time that we're talking about if it works. There are a lot of
things that work will help and slow this down and soften and bend the curve and soften the spread. And things that don't. And we'll see which they don't. But you guys take the pills.
Reasons that I have to believe, again, Dr. Hahn is the expert, but a lot of reasons that I would have to think that it could have a very positive effect or a positive effect. Maybe not very, but maybe positive.
Could be or not, but maybe okay, bye. See you later.
I think it's, to me, very, very exciting.
This is so exciting. You're going to enjoy this because I've been talking to the major pharmaceutical companies, and they have a pill that is a Viagra spray tan pill that is also good for acid reflux that tastes like Diet Coke, that I'm so excited.
And the beauty is, I think I can say this, Steve, the beauty is that these drugs have been out there. So the really danger part of the drugs, especially chloroquine, it's been out there for years. So we know it's something that can be taken safely.
So you can take it and you won't explode. We know that you won't blow up. Some other drugs, you take them and poof, off, you just disappear. But this one, not so much, because...
So it's very important.
But, you might die because we're not giving you other stuff. Cut to the other exit camera.
I insisted that they cut to that camera, Mr. President, so people can watch you go. It's my favorite view.
Go ahead.
Dr. Hunt, can you just give a little bit more information about that, the process by which folks are going to be able to actually use these medicines? Because I believe there were at least 2 cited, maybe more. How quickly?
They're jam-packing people with drugs, hoping that they work, that have been tried before.
Do you think people will be able to use them? And then if you can update us on the vaccine, I know it's fast-tracked.
Well, the president has asked us to expedite this. And what I want to assure you, because of the questions that
Because we wouldn't normally expedite things.
were asked, we want to make sure that this is done well and right for the American people. The president is right. With an off-the-shelf drug, we do have a lot of information about the side effects of the drug. So that really helps in terms of
contraindications.
Expediting. But I want to assure you that we're working as quickly as we can. I don't want to speculate about a timeline at this point. With respect to vaccines, that's in phase 1.
It depends on who doesn't keel over the minute we give it to them because they have other drugs in their system.
Trial, as I mentioned, we're expecting that to proceed moving forward, and we're working with a number of different other companies about vaccine
The
development.
president had noted phase 1 was fast-tracked. Is it possible phase 2 and phase 3 can be fast-tracked, that we might see a vaccine before that year? You said it could potentially be a year.
This is a terrific question, and we are really trying hard at FDA to partner with great industry, great academic partners.
Because the answer isn't about how quick the drug is developed in that time. It's about seeing how long after a person takes it, their body is adversely affected. And the human body only reacts in cycles. You can't speed up someone's reaction.
To do exactly that. No promises can be made, but one thing that we're doing is really
is if you don't care. I mean, the Germans and the North Koreans certainly were able to test drugs faster than everybody else in the world for a reason you might
working
understand.
hard to fast track as much as possible.
And they are.
Dr. Hahn, on the antivirus, Dr. Hahn, on the payment.
Yeah, we're done. Blah, 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 you stupid stuff.
We're
Goodbye.
other times to meet. We'll be meeting, hopefully not for very long. I mean, I would like to see this get cleared
I don't want to do this anymore.
up, and we think to me, this was a very important conference.
This is a good one. You know, of all of them, this is my favorite.
Because I really think there's great potential here, and
this is sweet.
a lot of people are going to be trying it soon, like literally very soon, literally in a matter of days, if not sooner in some cases. It's already being experimented with, and there's been some very good results. We'll see what happens, but if we can be even partially right,
Stock market loses 100 points every time he says we'll see what happens.
maybe we'll be fully right, but even partially right on it, this
Even if we're half right, you could be, and half the people are half dead.
this whole subject becomes a much more pleasant subject. So thank you all.
It's going to be so much more fun. If this works, the rest of these are going to be a party, people. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go get another spray tan for a dinner tonight I'm
And
having.
we're going over to FEMA now, so I don't know who's going.
Follow us over to FEMA.
But we're going to FEMA. We're going to be discussing with the governors and lots of other people. No, I think that's enough. Thank you.
I think that's enough. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Check my bald spot as I leave. Make sure you catch it.
Dr. Hahn, will people actually be using these drugs in a couple of days?
Well, that's that. Good Lord. So yeah, we have these to look forward to every day. I'll try and make them as palatable as I possibly can. I don't seem to get them on Twitch app either. Oh, that's weird. Sorry about that. This isn't fun. I don't want to do anymore. Just with this hot chick who loves me. You're right.
If you'll notice, I am not quarantining myself. I am 100% fine. But no one has seen Melania or Barron in ages.
You guys, I'm going to finish this one up. I'll be back on in a little bit for shorter ones and talking to the chat room and whatnot. We'll be just on the YouTube page the rest of the time. So go to infotainmentwars.com if you're on Twitch or you're on Periscope or Facebook. Facebook, folks who are on Facebook and like to watch it there, that's totally cool. But the asshole index in the Facebook chat is very high. So my tendency is to not involve the Facebook in the feed anymore. So sign up on the YouTube page, like subscribe there and hit the notification bell if you want, and it'll pop it in there. And I appreciate, by the way, Bono, you noticing, everybody, Chris Bono's in the chat room. Say hi to Chris Bono. Thanks for spotting my Mel Brooks Blazing Saddles reference. I appreciate that. I'm glad you know that. And thank you to Can't Stop Lion for his continual vigilant support of the channel in the chat. I love you, brother. Stay healthy. I look forward to when there's enough tests going around where we can have one and some of us can start gathering together again. And like I said, to anybody who watches this later and thinks I'm being critical of the nation or the presidency, or I'm being disrespectful, understand that I am being 100% disrespectful to this president, not the presidency. I take it more seriously than he does. I think this is an absurd exercise in self-fellatio on his part, and I refuse to give him any an ounce of air in this nonsense. The people behind him who are working hard, I appreciate what they're doing. The people on the ground, the people in the front lines, but this man has ignored this up to this point, and he is patting his own back, and he can kiss my ass for now and for posterity.
Some people say posterior or posterity.
But yeah, no. I have too much respect for the American people, our system of government, and the presidency to let this asshole come out and congratulate himself every day for the work that other people are doing and make other people on his staff basically kneel before him and Bob to just get the stage time to say what they want to say. That's it. Like, forget it. So the rest of you can just enjoy this part of it, and we will have a good time. I'll be back on a little bit later. We'll play around. I'm going to play some guitar and make some music later on, and then I'll be gaming as well. So, we're all in this together. We're hanging out. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for jumping in here with me. If you missed any of it, you can roll back and watch it again. Patreon.com/Al Sparks if you want to support. If you're a supporter and you can't right now because of your concern about your financial situation, please, 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 and I'm serious about this, drop out. Don't feel the need to do super chats or any of that stuff during this time. It is currently my only source of income, as it is for most people, but don't worry about that. I'll get by. We will manage. But if you can help, please do. And I adore you guys, and hopefully I will see you in person sooner rather than later. I'll talk to you guys soon.